All right, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaKodash, double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to you, sincere, hopeful elect, Akim, Ma'ah, my Rabbi, Allah. That's to say 144,000. All right, the elect of the nation of Israel, Shalom to you, fighting in truth and in sincerity. Desiring to be of that number, hoping to get the hell out of Babylon or wherever brothers are scattered. All right, pushing this word. In this lesson, as you see, this is from Deep Seek. I said, going to the conversion of Idumeans to Judaism and Herod the Great becoming king via the Romans. All right, so for brothers that know, the way Herod the Great, which was an Idumean, an Edomite, the way he got into power or became king, in the land of Israel was by way of the Romans. So I just want to edify on that a little bit, and bring out some scriptures. Now, once let me actually read this. It says, the conversion of the Idumeans to Judaism and Herod the Great's rise to power. It says the Idumeans, Edomites, descendants of Esau, were forcibly converted to Judaism under Hasmonean rule. All right, which the Hasmoneans, once again, were they were, in the previous lesson I just did not too long ago, I went into that a little bit. The Hasmoneans were from the line of the Maccabees. All right. Now, John Hyrcanus converted, by force, the Idumeans, the Edomites, to follow the Israelite customs. All right. Now, along with that, Esau still were practicing, and worshiping their god Quaz. All right. They equated Quaz with Yahweh. All right, which is completely off. Just showing you a devil can't do right. Edomites can't do right. Okay. It says, setting the stage for Herod the Great's rise as Rome's client king. Below is a detailed breakdown of these pivotal events. Now, that Herod the Great was a puppet. He was set up by the Romans to rule in Israel. Okay, he's not a legitimate king in Israel. For one, he's not even an Israelite. Okay, so one, it says forced conversion of the Idumeans under John Hyrcanus the First, 134 through 104 BCE. It says conquest and ultimatum. Around 110 through 107 BCE, the Hasmonean ruler John Hyrcanus the First invaded Idumea, formerly Edom, and gave its inhabitants a choice: convert to Judaism, which included circumcision and Torah observance, or be expelled. Motivations: political, eliminate a rival power south of Judea, because the land of Edom is south of the land of Judea. Religious, it says expand Israelite, it says Jewish, but I'm going to say expand Israelite influence under Hasmonean rule, which that's all fine and dandy to expand the influence, but he went wrong converting them to our so-called religion, because they took that and ran with it. They took that and ran with it. Okay. It says outcome. It says most Idumeans chose conversion, adopting Israelite customs, but retaining some cultural distinctions. Example given, the god Quaz was occasionally synchronized with Yahweh, which that's completely going off. Okay, completely going off. It says legacy of the conversion. It says integration. It says Idumeans became part of Israelite society though some Israelites viewed them as half Israelites due to their forced conversion, which they weren't even half Israelites. They weren't Israelites at all. They were Idumeans. They were Edomites, the devil, according to the Bible. Okay, half Israelites. According to the scriptures, you are what your father is. So ain't all that half shit. Get that. Nah. Let's go here. What is that? Numbers 1 and 18. I'm gonna read in the KJV. Numbers 1 and 18. It says, "And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward by their polls." So the way you determine somebody's pedigree, their lineage, all right, is by the house of their fathers, because you are what your father is. Okay? In the NLT it says, "And they assembled the whole community of Israel on that very day. All the people were registered according to their ancestry by their clans and families. The men of Israel who were 20 years old or older were listed one by one." All right, so the NLT didn't really do it justice, but in the KJV, you are what your father is. All right, your father determines what you are. All right. Let's go back to this. All right, so it says outcome. It says most. Okay, legacy. Oh, hold on. All right, Herodian dynasty. It says Herod's family, originally Idumean, leveraged this conversion to claim Israelite identity while aligning with Rome. Okay, so these Herod, which they go back to Amalek. All right, his line goes back to Amalek. Okay, the people that claim to be the chosen people in the Holy Land currently, the so-called Zionists. All right, that's a tribe of Amalek. So Herod's people go back to them dirt bags. Okay. It says Herod the Great's path to kingship. It says early political maneuvering. It says father's influence. Antipater, the Idumean, or Antipater the Edomite, Herod's father, was a key advisor to Hyrcanus II, Hasmonean ethnarch. All right, which that's pretty much like a patriarch or a ruler for an ethnic group. All right, and that ethnic group was the Israelites. So Hyrcanus, pretty much was a overseer or a governor, so to say, over Israel. It says so once again, Herod's father, all right, Antipater the Idumean, was a key advisor to Hyrcanus and secured Roman favor by supporting Julius Caesar during civil wars. So you had Antipater, which was an Idumean, an Edomite, that was an advisor to Hyrcanus, which Hyrcanus was an Israelite. That's why this is where the bullshit starts. So let me read this. Actually, hold on. That's why the scriptures say this here. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 12, verse 10 in the GNT. It says, "Never trust an enemy. His wickedness is as destructive as rust." All right, so never trust an enemy, the scriptures say. They're Edomites. Here it is. Years previous, when we were getting invaded by the Babylonians, you had these same demons, these Edomites, that actually was handing us over to the Babylonians. which shows that they were not to be trusted. But years later, hundreds of years later, you make alliances and all this with the devil, okay? And you got Edomite as your right hand man, an advisor. Come on, man. All right, governorship. It says Herod was appointed governor of Galilee, 47 BCE, where he crushed rebellions, earning Roman trust, but Jewish suspicion. All right, so he was doing all this good things for Rome, but the Israelites wasn't fucking with him. Okay, it says Roman appointment as king 40 BCE. It says Parthian crisis when the Parthians invaded Judea and installed Antigonus, which Hasmonean, which he came from the line of Maccabees, Israelite, as king. Herod fled to Rome. All right, so just like a little punk, he fled to Rome when the Parthians set up Antigonus as a king. All right. It says state decree. It says Senate decree. The Roman Senate declared Herod king of the Jews. So here, some more Edomites is setting up a fellow Edomite as king over a whole nother race of people. Okay. In 40 BCE, tasking him with retaking Judea with Roman legions. All right, so he got support from Rome to go back to Judea to pretty much take over and hold the title as king of the Jews. Okay, military victory. Herod besieged Jerusalem 37 BCE, executed Antigonus, and married Mariamne, all right, which was a Hasmonean princess. Okay, so she was of the tribe of Levi to legitimize his rule. So he married into the royal bloodline to try to legitimize him as being the true king of the Jews. Okay. Key strategies for legitimacy. It says Hasmonean ties, married into the Hasmonean family, but later executed rivals. Example given: Mariamne, her sons, to secure his dynasty. So this goddamn Edomite married like he to solidify his rule and to ensure that one of her sons wasn't gonna try to usurp authority, or even her herself, because in history you actually had a Levite so-called queen that was of the Maccabees line. If I'm not mistaken, she was I forget her name. Her name was started with an S. But anyway, she she was married. One of her first husband died, and then her second husband died as well, if I'm not mistaken. And when her second husband died, he left her to rule. He didn't want the sons ruling because they weren't equipped, so he left her to rule. And that was supposedly a golden age in the land of Israel at that time when she ruled. Her name was Salome, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. But yeah, so ensuring that something like that didn't happen. That's why Herod killed Mariamne and her sons, which the sons wasn't, most likely wasn't even spawned from Herod. Okay. It says Roman loyalty shifted allegiance from Mark Antony to Augustus, ensuring continued Roman support. temple project, rebuilt the second temple to win Israelite favor, though many still resented his Idumean roots. So now, they resent the fact that this dude is king because they understand that he's an Edomite. Okay? So that's exactly why the scriptures say what they say. So let's read this. This is back in Sirach 12, verse 10 in the GNT. It says, never trust an enemy. His wickedness is as destructive as rust. Watch out and be on guard against him, even if he acts ever so humble. And that's what the case was with Antipater the Idumean being a advisor to who was that? He was an advisor to Salakia, to Hyrcanus. Okay, so despite that, him being an advisor to Hyrcanus, all right, Antipater the Idumean, and being so humble and all that, man, he had evil intent, to set his son up in a position of power. Okay, it says he is like a metal mirror that rusts away if you don't keep it polished. See an enemy at your right hand, and the next thing you know, he'll be trying to get your own place of honor. Put him next to you, and he will overthrow you. Then you will realize the truth of my words and be stung with regret when you remember them. And you best believe Jake was feeling it, and we had the accounts in the scriptures to prove that Jake was feeling it under, Herod. Okay, because he was trying to kill Yahushua, man. All right, went about killing all the male children at a certain age and younger, hoping to get to the Messiah. Okay, a real fucking demon, man. That's why you don't fuck with Edomites. Okay, pardon my language, man. Verse 13, it says, nobody feels sorry for snake charmers or wild animal tamers who get bitten. Hey, you play with snakes, you're gonna get bitten, man. All right, and Edomites are snakes. All right, and they do bite. It says, and nobody will feel sorry for you if you run around with sinners and get involved in their wrongdoing. And Edomites are sinners. You trying to convert John Hyrcanus the first, trying to convert some damn natural born devils to righteousness. Man, you gonna end up in the wrong. All right, because they can't do right. Edomites can't do right. It says an enemy will stay with you for a while, but not when trouble comes. Okay, he will speak fine words while he plots how to trap you. All right, all that advising Antipater was doing, it was nothing more than a trap that he was setting for the Hasmoneans. Okay, he will pretend to share your sorrows, but he will kill you if he gets the chance. And that's exactly what, Herod did. Okay, if trouble comes your way, you will find him waiting, ready to trip you up while he pretends to help you. Okay, he will be a different person then, rubbing his hands, nodding his head, and spreading rumors about you. And when Herod's punk ass went up to Rome for assistance and whatnot, he was lying on Jake, exaggerating and making things that seem look like they were worse than what they were, so he can get reinforcements to come, solidify his position as king of the Jews, man. Okay. So continuing on, verse number 3, it says controversies and legacy. It says Israelite suspicion of Herod. It says ethnic distrust. It says many Israelites saw Herod as a Roman puppet and half Israelite due to his Idumean ancestry, which once again, he was not an Israelite at all. He was a straight Edomite. All right, you are what your father is. His father was known as Antipater the Idumean. So guess what? He's an Idumean, aka Edomite. All right. Religious compliance. It says, despite accusations, archaeological evidence, example given, Mikvaot in his palaces, avoidance of pork uh, suggests Herod adhered to Israelite laws in some ways. All right. Historical impact. It says, end of Hasmoneans. Herod's reign marked the end of Israelite independence and the start of Roman client kingship. All right, so pretty much you're a Roman puppet. You're a king, but you're a puppet to the Romans. New Testament infamy. It says, known for the massacre of the innocents, Matthew 2:16 reflects his paranoia. Okay, we'll get that. Conclusion, the Idumean conversion under the Hasmoneans and Herod's Roman-backed kingship reshaped Judea's political and religious landscape. While Herod's while Herod's legacy is marred by tyranny, his dynasty, born from forced assimilation, became a defining force in Israelite Roman history. Okay, so let's get that Matthew 2:16. And before we get that real quick, let's read that. So Herod slaughters babies. We'll read it in NLT. Matthew 2:16, it says, Herod was furious when he realized that the wise men had outwitted him. And that's why you don't trust Esau. All right. Because he had malicious intent. He sent soldiers to kill all the boys in and around Bethlehem who were 2 years old and under, based on the wise men's report of the star's first appearance. And that star was a chariot. Okay. It says Herod's brutal action fulfilled what the Most High had spoken through the prophet Jeremiah. A cry was heard in Ramah, weeping in great mourning. Rachel weeps for her children, refusing to be comforted, for they are dead. Okay, and I believe Rachel was the mother of Judah. Okay. So yeah, you got or maybe it was Leah. I forget which. Let me see. And it's 10:44 right now. Let's get that. Let's try this. Okay. This is Genesis 29. Oh no, Leah. Leah was a mother. So like it. Okay. And Leah conceived and bare a son, called his name Reuben. She conceived again and bare a son. She conceived again. She conceived again. Yep. So Leah is the mother. Salakia. of Judah. So Genesis 29 and 35, it says, and she conceived again and bare a son, and she said, now will I praise Yahweh. Therefore she called his name Yahweh, and left bearing. All right. So real quick, let me do this. Going back to this Matthew 2. So all right, so let's look at this. Rachel, crying, Ramah. So let's look at Ramah. Hopefully this pulls up. Ramah, bam. So Ramah, okay, bingo. So a good little tidbit of information to know. This is all Judea, all right? Right here where Ramah is at on down, southern kingdom. But Bethlehem, that's in the land of Judah. But just north of Bethlehem, not too far from Bethlehem, you got Jerusalem. Now, Jerusalem is in the land of Benjamin. This is Benjamin's land. Okay? Okay? Now, Ramah, north of Jerusalem here, far north of Jerusalem, that's Ramah. All right? That, I believe, would be in the land of Benjamin as well. Now, the reason why it's saying, the scripture said, in Ramah was there a voice heard, lamentation and weeping and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children and would not be comforted because they are dead. Rachel is the mother of Benjamin. All right. So Benjamin's mom is Rachel. And, even up here in his surrounding areas, because remember, it said in those surrounding areas, he went up there to kill those babies. All right. So once again, it says, verse 16 in the NLT, it says, Herod was furious when he realized that the wise men outsmarted him. He sent soldiers to kill all the boys in and around Bethlehem who were 2 years old and under, based on the wise men's report of the star's appearance. So 2 years old and under, in and around Bethlehem. All right, so here you got Bethlehem and this whole area. You got Jerusalem, Ramah, so there was a lot of slaughter that happened up here in Ramah in this area, which is why the scripture had mentioned by way of the prophet Jeremiah, Rachel weeping for her children. All right, so just to edify on that. Now let's go back here to Psalm 55 and we'll wrap it up. Psalm 55 and 21, it says, let me start at 20. It says, he hath put forth his hand against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. Okay? Esau, man. Every covenant he made with the natives here in America, he broke. Okay, he broke the covenants he made with the Hasmoneans and the Maccabees. All right, when you go into the Maccabees, first Maccabees, you see how the Ptolemies and Seleucids would make pacts and covenants with the Israelites, all right, with the Maccabees, and break all of them. Okay, just break all of them, kill everybody, and that's Esau's nature, man. Okay, so verse 21, it says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter. Were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Okay. So let me read that in NLT, verse 21. It says, his words are as smooth as butter, but in his heart is war. His words are as soothing as lotion, but underneath are daggers. Okay, so Esau is a untrustworthy individual or nation of people. All right, that are not to be trusted, man, because in the end they're always gonna stab you in the back, and we see that live and direct with Herod the Great, how he came into rulership, how he came into being known as King of the Jews. All right, which was all an alley oop from his father, Antipater the Edomite. Okay, so they married into the Hasmonean family, and he killed his wife and her sons, and just some real Edomite devil shit, man. Okay, so Abaratazar, this was edifying. Hey, the point is, never trust your enemy. All right, Esau's the devil. All right, so Abaratazar, brothers, was edified. Till next time, shalom.